Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be going state by state and analyzing the latest poll out of every single state and testing that to my new model and seeing how accurate the latest polls could be to the general election based out of the average in the popular vote. Before we get started with the video, please hit that like button, subscribe, make sure to hit the post bell button, and make sure to follow the Twitter and join the Discord in the description down below. And let's get right into this. And so, pretty much, guys, the first state is going to be the state of Alabama. Donald Trump, in the latest poll from February 29th to March 3rd, is currently leading by 20 points in the aggregate. This is a very deep red state nationwide, and will continue to vote deep red in this election. The next state we're going to be looking at is Alaska, a state that is particularly left trending per se, and Donald Trump in the latest polls leading by 12 points. They have Mary Patola as their at-large congresswoman, but that was due to a low turnout election, and you also had two Republicans on the same ballot. However, I believe Trump is still going to be able to win this election fairly easily. The next state we're going to be looking at is the state of Arizona, the first major swing state, which on April 10th through the 11th, a poll was conducted with third-party candidates that actually has Donald Trump up by 6 points in the state, and that puts Donald Trump at a likely margin in the state of Arizona. If you look at the state of Arizona in 2020, it was a very close state. Biden was able to pick it off due to gains in Maricopa County, which is the most populated county in Arizona and one of the most fastest growing counties in the United States. However, based off of Biden's unpopularity, it seems like this poll is gauging that Trump is going to be able to have a pretty easy victory in the electoral college. That gives Donald Trump the state of Arizona in the likely category. The next state we're going to be looking at is the state of Arkansas, where Donald Trump has a very comfortable 32-point lead. It used to be the bluest state in the nation in the 1990s and is now considered one of the most reddest as of right now. The next state is going to be the state of California, which has become a very Democratic state over the last 30 years. Biden leads by 23 points in the latest poll from late March. That will put the state in the safe category for the incumbent president. The next state is going to be the state of Colorado, which is a very left trending state. Used to be reliably Republican, is now a very deep blue state. And if you look back at 2004, it was a reliably Republican state. Even in 2000, it voted to the right of Virginia, funny enough. And so even actually voted more to the right than West Virginia did, and even Tennessee, Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Colorado used to be a very Republican state back then, but things have changed over the last couple years, especially when Biden was able to win it by double digits in 2020. The latest poll currently has Trump down, excuse me, by 10 points in the latest poll. That puts the state in the likely category for Joe Biden. The next state we're going to be looking at is the state of Connecticut. In the latest poll from Emerson College, it only has Biden up by 9 points. This is a very reliably Democratic state. Ever since the 1990s, it has been considerably Democratic and has only voted likely once in 2004 and in 2016. And it's been reliably Democratic ever since. And now we are looking at the state potentially getting within single digits in 2024 due to Biden's unpopularity. The next state we're going to be looking at is the state of Delaware, which is Biden's home state, which has no polling data, but based out of previous results, we are going to be leaving it in the safe category. The next state is the state of, the District of Columbia, which has no polling data, but based out of previous results and an educated guess, it will be in the very safe Democratic column. The next state is going to be the state of Florida, where Donald Trump enjoys a 9-point lead in the latest poll and a 10-point lead in the second poll. That is with registered voters. With likely voters, Trump is up by 9. And so that actually means that the state is going to be in the likely category. And funny enough, is actually slightly more Republican than Arizona, but Arizona and Florida almost vote in line with each other in this scenario, which is very interesting. Kind of probably shows that Hispanics are going to play a big part in coalitions in 2024. The next state we're going to be looking at here is the state of Georgia, the next swing state. A poll from Fox News has Trump up by 6 points at 51% to Biden's 45. As of right now, the second poll has Trump up by 7. and that puts the state in the likely category, just like Arizona once again. If we keep going, we go to Hawaii. There is no new polling data, but based out of an educated guess, I'd say it is probably a safe state. However, the state has been trending more Republican in the past couple cycles. Obama was able to win it by massive margins in '08 and 2012. However, Hillary didn't win it by as much, and Biden's actually kind of lost ground there. So I suspect that the state, due to Biden's unpopularity, may get below 20 points, but I think it's still going to be a safe Democratic state. If we keep looking in the next state, the state of Idaho, if we go to 2024, the only poll has them up by 29 percentage points as of right now. The next state is the state of Illinois, which has been a very reliably Democratic state ever since basically the 1990s. It's become a very reliably Democratic state overall. Influx of black population has really caused the state to be a very Dem stronghold. However, as of recent years, it has been pretty stagnant and even has trended to the right a tiny bit. And so, based out of Biden's unpopularity in the national environment, Illinois will probably be within single digits, and that latest poll is basically reflecting that as of right now. And so it seems like Biden will be winning it by 10 points in this scenario. If we go to Indiana, Donald Trump is up by 21 points in the state, reliably Republican. Obama won it in 2008, but ever since Romney took it back in 2012, Democratic hopes in the state have pretty much gone away. If we keep going to the state of Iowa, the Des Moines Register poll has Trump up by 15 points. If we look at the state back in '08, you could see it was a reliably Democratic state and even used to be pretty competitive back then. Gore won it in 2000. Bush was able to barely win it in '04, mainly due to rural voters being kind of split in terms of their electorate. Now they vote very, very solidly Republican compared to before, as you could see in the counties. And so, as of right now, Trump is expected to win that by a safe margin, which would be the first time Iowa actually votes safe Republican ever since, 1972, when Nixon was able to win it by 17 points. If we go to the next state on the map, Kansas is a 16-point lead for Trump. This has been a reliably Republican state for quite some time. It has not voted Democrat ever since 1964 when Johnson was able to win it by 9 points. And it has been one of the most reliably Republican states in the nation. It finally voted likely again ever since 2008. It was a exactly 15-point win for McCain. It was probably right touching the 15-point win, but it finally voted a likely margin in 2020 when Trump won it by 14.6 percentage points. If we keep going to the state of Kentucky, Trump has a very big 20.8 lead here. The state used to be reliably Democratic in the 1990s. You can see here, it used to be kind of not necessarily reliably Democratic, but it used to be a leaning Democratic state. Clinton was able to barely hold on to it in 96, but ever since then, the state has kind of taken a turn away from Democrats and has become one of the most reliably Republican states on the national level, despite having a Democratic governor by the name of Andy Beshear. The next state is going to be the state of Louisiana. Trump has a comfortable 15-point lead in the state. Again, used to be very, very Democratic in the 1990s. Clinton won it by 4 points here. He won it by 12 points in 1996. However, ever since then, it has kind of taken a trend to the right and has been significantly Republican for the past 2 decades. If we keep going to the state of Maine, Donald Trump in the latest poll is up by 6 percentage points, with the first district being within single digits and Maine second being a safe district, putting Maine as a massive victory for the former president. The next state on the map is going to be the state of Maryland, where Biden only enjoys a 15-point lead according to the latest poll with third parties. So that potentially would put the state in the likely category if the polls are wrong, and if that poll is somewhat accurate. If the polls get overestimated for Biden, the state could actually fall into likely territory, and that actually gives hopes to Larry Hogan's Senate run, because if Biden's coattails are not big enough in the state, Larry Hogan might actually be able to outperform there. If you look at Massachusetts in the latest poll with third parties, Biden is only up by 18 points, which would be a massive deficit from 2020, where he won it by 33. If we go to the next state, the state of Michigan, the latest poll from Fox News currently has Trump up by 3 points. A lot of issues like the Israel Palestine conflict is affecting Muslim turnout in the state, African American support for Trump rising, and Biden support among blacks decline, and is also trending the state to the right. And so, with those combined factors, it would not be surprising to see a double single digit lead in the state of Michigan for Trump. If we look at the latest poll in Minnesota, Biden only leads by two. This state has voted Democrat since 1976. Didn't even vote for Reagan in 1984. However, it has become slightly closer compared to the national environment ever since then, and may actually have a chance at flipping this year if the polls are wrong. If we go to Mississippi, Donald Trump enjoys an 18-point lead, has been somewhat reliably Republican for the past couple of years, and continues to do so. If we go to the state of Missouri, Donald Trump is ahead by 18 points, a state that McCain barely won in 2008. And ever since then, it has been trending significantly Republican compared to the rest of the national environment. If we look at Montana, in 2024, Donald Trump enjoys a 20-point lead with third-party candidates involved. That puts the state in the safe Republican column. However, in the 1990s, it did actually vote Democratic once for Clinton, but before that, it had not voted Democrat since 1964 and had only voted a one-time Democrat in 1992. However, ever since then, it has become significantly more Republican, almost voted for Obama in 2008. McCain only won it by 2.3 percentage points, even voted to the left of states like Arizona, Kansas, South Dakota, North Dakota, even, which even used to be somewhat competitive for Obama back then, which was pretty interesting to look at. And now, if we go to the next state on the map, we're going to see Nebraska is an 18-point lead for Donald Trump. In 2020, he was able to win the state by 19. So, based off of that estimation, that means the first district of Nebraska would still be likely, and Nebraska's second would still be likely Democratic for Joe Biden. If Trump is doing slightly worse in the state compared to this poll from before, which was a 19-point win, that means Nebraska's second and Nebraska's first would maintain their ratings from 2020 just for the sake of the video. The next state is going to be the state of Nevada, where, according to the Wall Street Journal, Donald Trump enjoys a 4-point lead here, basically due to his gains with Hispanics. More than likely, he's going to be able to gain in Clark County. This state has been reliably Democratic ever since 2004. Obama had two very big victories. However, Biden and Clinton have had it a little bit closer, and it may have a chance to flip in 2024. New Hampshire's latest poll for Biden versus Trump with Kennedy involved actually has Biden only up by 3 points in the state, and that will put the state in the lean category for President Biden. If we look at the state of New Jersey, the latest poll with third-party candidates has Biden only up by 5 points, and that is some warning signs for the Democratic Party there. That may be a major concern for them as of right now. New Mexico, the latest poll has Biden up by 8 points. So as of right now, it seems like it's going to be voting significantly Democratic this cycle. If we go to the state of New York, the latest poll from February 12th only has Biden up by 10 points, which matches a latest poll that came out of New York City, which has many of the boroughs significantly closer than before. And so that poll may not actually be that off, and may in fact actually be underestimating Trump as we speak right now. If we go to the state of North Carolina, Donald Trump's latest poll is a 6-point lead. You could see in 2008, Obama was able to win it massively due to African American turnout being very high, but ever since then, the southern eastern part of the state has trended massively Republican, and as well as the northeastern part has become significantly more Republican ever since 2008. And so, as of right now, based out of their competent GOP party there, I believe that the state is going to have a big victory for Trump, and I think this 6-point poll may be around where he actually ends up winning it by. The next state is going to be the state of North Dakota, where Trump enjoys a 37-point lead in this very reliably Republican state. If we look at the next state, which is Ohio, Donald Trump enjoys an 11-point lead. Used to be somewhat of a reliable Democratic state for Clinton as well as Obama. However, Donald Trump has made major gains here with white working class voters and has shifted the state massively to the right. If we look at the state of Oklahoma, Donald Trump is up by 28 points in this very reliably Republican state. As of right now, in the state of Oregon, Biden enjoys a 15-point lead in the state, which seems pretty high considering that all these states are voting by pretty big margins. However, I wouldn't be surprised if the polls are overestimating Biden as of right now. If we go to the state of Pennsylvania, Donald Trump, according to the latest Fox News poll, is actually tied with Biden. However, we go to the last poll before that, which is by the same company with third party voters. Donald Trump is ahead by 2 points. So we are going to characterize the state in the lean Republican column as of right now. If we go to Rhode Island, Biden enjoys a 17-point lead in the state as of right now, putting that in the safe category for the incumbent president. If we go to South Carolina, Donald Trump actually enjoys a 14-point lead in the state, which is not a safe state. However, it is still likely as of right now. South Carolina may, in fact, become a problem for Republicans later on if African Americans don't shift massively to the right in the years to come. If we go to South Dakota, Donald Trump enjoys a 29-point lead in this very Republican leaning state. If we go to Tennessee, Donald Trump enjoys a 23-point lead with third party votes, putting him at 251 electoral votes. And now that we are going to touch Texas, Donald Trump will basically come over the 270 electoral votes he needs to win. And as of right now, the latest poll has him up by 12 with third party votes. If you include Kennedy, he is up by 12 points as well. And that puts the state in the likely category for Donald Trump and puts him at 291 electoral votes. If we look at Utah, Donald Trump is actually only up by 8 points in the latest poll, which is a very interesting characterization. Even though the polls tend to underestimate Trump here, I suspect that the state could be a sleeper flip for Democrats in the next decade or two. If we keep going to Vermont, Biden wins by 31 points in the latest poll here. And if we go to Virginia, Biden enjoys a 6-point lead in the latest poll in the state. If we go to Washington, Biden is actually ahead by 11 points, which is closer than his lead is in Oregon, which is a very interesting observation. And now that we are approaching the last couple of states, West Virginia, a very easy victory for the former president, very reliably Republican compared to before. Wisconsin actually has the race tied. And if we look at the poll with third party votes, Biden's actually ahead by 2. So, funny enough, this actually puts the state in the lean Democratic category for Biden. You guys may be curious as to why Wisconsin is leading for Biden where Michigan and Pennsylvania aren't. However, usually polls tend to underestimate Trump in the state by quite a bit. If you look at the 2020 aggregate, Biden's ahead by 8.4 on election day. The result was a tilt margin. That is about an 8-point miss in the polling. So if you were to apply that same logic to this latest poll, Donald Trump would theoretically be winning the state by 4 points, upwards to even 6 points as of right now. But for the sake of the video, I have to put it as leaning for Joe Biden. And the last state, which we all pretty much know where it's going to go, Wyoming is a safe state for Donald Trump, has been solidly Republican, and has not voted Democrat, I believe, since 1964 when it voted for Johnson in his landslide victory by only 13 points, and has voted Republican ever since. Only has voted likely once in 1996 for Dole. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. At least this portion of the video. Donald Trump with 304 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 234 electoral votes. The RCP aggregate currently has the average at a tied electorate for the former president. As of right now, he's currently barely leading the polls. However, if we go to the latest polling averages as of right now, if we go to the national polling average, the latest poll has Trump up by 4 points as of right now. And so if we were to apply that to my latest model, we will actually see that the former president is enjoying a much larger lead than initially expected to believe. And if we were to create a brand new electoral map based out of this result from the model, we will be going this not state by state. I'm going to be doing this relatively quick just for the sake of the video. But I did also want to test the national environment polls just to kind of give you guys an idea of where we're standing. Ever since, I've been doing these kind of videos, I only go state by state. but it's only fair for me to also look at the national polls and do the same thing, which is just look at the latest poll and basically use the model and apply that from here. And we'll compare the maps to see how accurate they may end up being in 2024. We can safely assume that in a Trump plus 4 environment, all these safe states, according to the model, will pretty much be going solidly Republican. Ohio and Iowa, in a tied national environment, according to my model, are still safe states. So you would only assume that they'd be safe states as of right now. South Carolina, Alaska. If we look at the safe states for Biden, California, Maryland, DC, Massachusetts, and Vermont will probably be these safe Democratic states. We'll keep going down here. Alaska is considered a 21-point win. Arizona is an 11-point win in the state as of right now. Arkansas, 38-point win. California is right above the 15-point line. Connecticut is only Colorado, excuse me, is only a lean margin for Biden. Connecticut and Delaware are likely victories for the incumbent president, similar to what current polling actually suggests right now. If we go to District Columbia, that would be safe. Florida is a safe state on the map, with Georgia being a likely margin of victory, upwards up to 12 points. The latest poll we saw had him up by 7 with third party. So if the polls are off by 3 to 4 points statewide, you could see a similar victory of that magnitude approach there. If we go to, for example, let's keep going down the list here. Hawaii is only a 13-point win when Trump is up by 4 points nationwide, according to the model. Idaho, a safe victory like assumed. Illinois is below, excuse me, a 5-point margin and is within single digits, according to the model. If we keep going, Maine's first would be a likely margin of victory. Maine second is safe. And Maine at large would still be a lean, a Democratic state for Biden, assuming that white votes are going to trend to the left this cycle. If we keep going down this list, as of right now, we will see that Maryland and Massachusetts are safe states. Michigan is a 9-point win for the former president. Minnesota is a 3-point victory for the former president. Nebraska second would be a likely Republican district for President Trump. If we were to keep going, Nevada would be an 11-point win for the former president. New Hampshire would be a lean margin of victory as of right now. New Jersey would be within single digits and would be within 2.9 percentage points away from flipping to the former president. New Mexico would be classified as a 4-point win in this model. New York would be within single digits, a 9-point lead for President Biden, which is what current polling also suggests. If we were to go to North Carolina, Donald Trump is up by 13.9 percentage points in the state. If we go to Ohio, that is a safe state. Oregon is a likely state as of right now. And if we go to Pennsylvania, he is up by 10 percentage points as of right now. Rhode Island has the race within single digits. And if we keep going, we'll see Texas is a 19-point win for the former president. And if we go to Virginia, he is currently winning the state by a lean margin of victory. And if we go to Washington, he's winning that by a likely margin. In the last state, Wisconsin, he is ahead by 10 points. And so if Trump was winning the national popular vote by 4 points, my model currently projects that Donald Trump would be winning 345 electoral college votes to Joe Biden's 193 electoral college votes. Now, if you guys did enjoy the video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to hit the post bell notification button, and make sure to follow the Twitter and join the Discord in the description down below. And I'll see you guys very, very soon.